Lakes. Lakes are classified by their origin, and we are going to go over 11 different kinds of lakes. This is a part of our study of surface water in the whole of the hydrologic cycle. Most of these are freshwater lakes, but we can also have saline lakes. So we'll look at some different kinds. Glacial lakes. In the image or the figure on the right here is the formation of the different lobes of lakes that now make up our Great Lakes of Canada and the United States. They form at the leading edge of a glacier, and usually from the glaciers eroding through bedrock and making channels, and then the deposition of sediment left behind by a glacier, and those together build up the glacial lakes. So that's our first kind, the glacial lakes. Next is an organic lake, and these are lakes totally classified by the fact that they are created by biological activity. So in the bottom right here is a fringing reef around an island, and that is creating within the backwater lagoons that are a type of lake on the landward side of those reefs. Mangroves in the image here, those are creating little pocket lakes within a larger body of water. Those mangroves can trap sediment, and they can become islands and peninsulas and separate those little bodies of water. So the mangroves make little lakes. And then a mammal, the beavers, they build dams across rivers, and they also build lakes. They are, other than humans, one of the largest landscape changers in the animal kingdom. Volcanic lakes. This in the image here is the beautiful Crater Lake in Oregon, and the one down below is a crater in a lake in the South Pacific. These are going to form when a volcano typically goes through a caldera stage and has a caldera eruption, where the whole magma chamber down below is exploded out during an eruption, and so the volcano collapses in on itself, and then that basin that is the crater fills with water. So they form really deep, really big lakes, and are totally recharged by rainwater and snow. So they are those kind of lakes. So there's a link here. I'm not going to click it, but you should, of volcanic lakes around the world. Next up are the fluvial lakes. And the best example of that is an oxbow. Rivers either are classified usually as being braided streams or meandering streams. So this is for the meandering streams. You have meanders in a river, and the river channel is going to migrate towards the outside of that bend, towards the cut bank as the point bar grows. And typically during a flood event, the river is going to cut off that big swooping meander and then take the water away from that meander, leaving it kind of high and dry. The river then is going to occupy kind of a straighter channel. That meander left out on the floodplain then becomes kind of curve shaped like an oxbow, and so we call those oxbow lakes. These oxbow lakes over time can silt up, or sediment can be accumulated in them, and they become important wetland habitat, also a part of the hydrology of that floodplain because they hold water. So they are important parts of a meandering river's floodplain, oxbow lakes. Karst lakes. So this topographic map, well, satellite image here, shows a city, and all of those circular green areas are karst lakes. These occur in areas that the bedrock geology is a carbonate. So carbonates are typically limestones, but it could be a dolostone or even a marble. And that rock type, carbonates, limestones, marbles, dolostones, dissolves in even a weakly acidic solution. So the underground area can dissolve, creating caves, and then the area, if say there's a withdrawal of the water, or it can happen naturally, the the roof of that cave can cave in. The cave can cave in and form a sinkhole that fills up with water, and that is a karst lake. So, image of one here in the corner. Okay. Aeolian lakes. These are mirages out in the desert, right? These are places where there's a pool of water. They're very important to any of the animals that live in a desert environment. And this will happen when there are pools of water during infrequent rain, or maybe an aquifer intercepts the landscape, and those dunes can act as dams and create these pools of water in the desert. So aeolian is a term that means wind. So these aeolian lakes are created by the dune activity that acts as a dam out there in the desert. Meteorite lakes. How cool is this? These are going to be simply impact craters from rocks from outer space, creates a crater, and it fills with water. So that would be from precipitation again, kind of like a volcanic crater, but these are from meteorite impacts. Shoreline lakes. So I said most of the lakes we're going to see are freshwater. Some of them are what we would maybe call brackish water. So an estuary or a lagoon. In this case, we have a barrier island. So this is the string of barrier islands that makes up the Outer Banks of North Carolina. These are the barrier islands. And on the land side of that are two sounds. The Albemarle Sound to the north that is fed freshwater from the Albemarle River, and then the Pamlico Sound to the south that is fed by the Pamlico River. So these are brackish water, and they have some tidal influence. These little lines here are the inlets, so salt water can come in and fresh water can go out, so it's tidally influenced water. If you click this link here, you'll get to, I see there is a misspelled word. We'll cover that up. You'll get to the NERS, the National Estuarine Research Reserves website for NOAA, and that will tell you about some of the other estuaries around the United States. Landslide lakes. These are often caused by some natural disaster. So earthquakes cause landslides, and this example here on the right is a landslide that happened in an earthquake in China. The landslide then created a large lake. The danger with these kinds of lakes is you have unsorted, just landslide material in your stream channel. A big lake forms behind it. That landslide is not a structurally sound dam, and that can fail and have a catastrophe downstream. So oftentimes when these do occur, they'll try to alleviate the pressure on that landslide and try to get the water out. Okay. Tectonic lakes. These are the really, in the example here, are the very deep lakes that form in the Rift Valley known as the East African Rift Valley. And this is a place where the Horn of Africa and to the south is splitting away from the continent of Africa. And when that happens, these very deep lakes form, and they're linear along the Rift Valley. So the Malawi Rift, the Western Rift Branch, the Eastern Rift Branch, the Kenya Rift, These are all examples of fault zones where the continent there is spreading apart. Anthropogenic lakes. These are created by humans, right? Anthropogenic. So oftentimes it's going to be with a dam. So here is Hoover Dam, and it has dammed up a large lake behind it, Lake Mead. And in the image below, this is a screen capture of one of the databases here that shows lakes of the United States. These kind of anthropogenic lakes and reservoirs are made for different reasons. They can be made for flood control or hydroelectricity. Those are the two main reasons why lakes are man-made. And those have to do with, creating electricity or making dam control. And some of the benefits of that then would be like creating a recreational lake, like a fun place to go, or a place to get food because you're eating the fish from that lake. But we have to remember that these lakes are changing the hydrology of an area. They are basically erasing the upstream habitats and maybe any cultural features that were in that upstream environment. And migrating fish have a hard time, and sediment is starved in the downstream areas of a dam. So there's stream erosion and then maybe beach erosion related to that. So there are indeed some pros and cons to anthropogenic lakes. So that's it for the 11 different kinds of lakes.